Hey, welcome back to Podcast English, the show where we talk real English for real situations. I'm your host, Alex, and today's episode is honestly one of my favorites we've ever done. So, imagine this. You wake up one morning and you say to yourself, that's it. For the next 30 days, I will only speak English. No cheating, no switching back to my native language, nothing. Sounds crazy, right? Maybe even a little terrifying? Well, my guest today actually did this, and what happened to her honestly blew my mind when she told me. So, Sarah, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Alex, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. A little nervous, actually. I don't usually talk about this stuff publicly, but yeah, here we are.
No, don't be nervous. This is a safe space, I promise. We're all friends here. And honestly, your story deserves to be heard because I think so many of our listeners are going to relate to you. But before we jump into the challenge, let's go back a little bit. Sarah, just tell us, who are you? Where are you from? Give us the background.
Sure. So I'm originally I grew up in a small city, not a big metropolitan area or anything like that. English was always this subject at school that I studied, but it never felt real, Like I could pass the exam, write the sentences on paper, but the moment someone actually spoke to me in English, my brain just went completely blank.
Oh, I know that feeling. That classic, you study for years and then a native speaker says, hey, what's up? And you just stand there like a statue.
Exactly. Like, what's up is not in my textbook. What does that even mean? And I remember this one moment. I was at an airport maybe 4 years ago, and this American couple asked me for directions. Simple question. Excuse me, where is gate B7? And I just panicked. I said, and pointed at a sign and basically ran away.
No, you didn't.
I absolutely did. I was so embarrassed, and that moment stayed with me for a long time. I kept thinking, why? Why can I read English perfectly fine, but the moment I need to speak it, everything disappears?
And that moment, that airport moment, is that what eventually led you to the 30-day challenge?
Not immediately, no. It took another year or two, honestly, but that was definitely the seed.
Okay, so let's get into it. The challenge. Set the scene for us. What were the rules? How did this actually work?
So the rules were actually very simple, but also very brutal. Rule number 1, every single conversation I have, even if the other person speaks my language, I respond in English. Even if they look at me weird, even if it's uncomfortable.
Even with family?
Okay, family was the hardest part. My mom, bless her heart, she does not speak any English at all. So I couldn't exactly have a deep, emotional conversation with my mom in English. So I made one exception. Immediate family, at home. But outside of that, everyone else. Friends, colleagues, strangers. English only.
Okay, that's fair. What was rule number 2?
Rule 2, my phone. Everything on my phone switches to English. Apps, keyboard, even the little autocorrect. Everything. Because I realized we spend so much time on our phones, right? So that's basically a free English lesson every time you scroll.
That's actually genius. That's such a small change with such a big impact.
It sounds small, but trust me, the first 3 days, I wanted to throw my phone out the window. Because suddenly, everything takes twice as long. You're reading the menu in English, you're typing in English, your brain is just working overtime.
So walk me through day 1. What was day 1 actually like?
Day 1 was humbling. Laugh softly. I woke up, made coffee, and I literally said out loud to myself, in English, "Good morning, Sarah. Today is day 1." And I felt ridiculous talking to myself, but I kept going. Then I went to work, and my colleague, she's my best friend at work, she said, "Hey, did you watch that show last night?" And I answered her in English, and she just stared at me.
What did she say?
She said, and I'll never forget this, she said, "Are you okay? Did something happen to you?" Both laugh. Like she genuinely thought something was wrong with me.
That is amazing. So what was the first week like overall?
Week 1 was honestly mostly embarrassing. I was slow. I was searching for words constantly. I would start a sentence and then just trail off because I couldn't find the right word. And I noticed people sometimes finishing my sentences for me, which felt awful in the moment.
But you kept going.
I kept going because I had told myself 30 days, just 30 days. Whatever happens, finish the 30 days.
Okay, so here's what I really want to know, because this is what our listeners are dying to hear. Was there a specific moment, a turning point, where something shifted, where it stopped feeling hard and started feeling different?
Yes, day 11.
Day 11. Tell me everything.
So, day 11, I'm sitting in a cafe, just alone, working on my laptop. And this guy sits next to me, and we just start chatting, very casual, about the weather, about the cafe, about work. Normal small talk. And we talked for maybe 20 minutes. And then he left, and I went back to my laptop, and I realized I hadn't thought once, not once during that whole conversation, did I stop and think, how do I say this in English? It just came out, like water flowing. Wow. And I sat there and I actually got emotional because for the first time in my entire life, English didn't feel like a foreign language. It felt like just talking.
That gave me chills, genuinely, because I think that's the moment every English learner is chasing. That moment when you stop translating in your head and you just exist in the language.
Exactly that. And once it happened once, it started happening more and more, like my brain had finally unlocked something.
Did you notice any physical changes? Like, I know this sounds strange, but did it affect how you felt day to day?
Actually, yes, and this is the part that surprised me the most. I started sleeping better.
Wait, sleeping better?
I know, it sounds completely unrelated, but I think what was happening is before the challenge, whenever I had to speak English, I carried this low-level anxiety with me all day, like a background noise of stress. What if someone talks to me in English? What if I don't understand? And slowly, as the challenge went on, that anxiety just dissolved, and I think my nervous system finally relaxed.
That is so fascinating, and honestly, it makes complete sense. Language anxiety is so real, and I don't think people talk about it enough. Okay, so let's get practical for our listeners, because I know people are listening right now thinking, okay, great, but what actually changed in your English? Like specifically, what improved?
Great question. So, number one, without a doubt, my listening improved dramatically because when you're forced to communicate in English all day, you become hyper aware of how people speak, the rhythm, the contractions, the way sentences flow. I started catching things I used to completely miss.
Like what kind of things?
Like, okay, simple example. Native speakers almost never say, I am going to. They say, I'm gonna. They don't say want to, they say wanna. And my textbook English brain used to hear, I'm gonna go, and spend half a second processing it. By week 3, I heard it instantly, no delay.
That processing speed is huge. That's the difference between understanding a slow, careful teacher and understanding a real conversation.
Completely. And number 2, my vocabulary stopped coming from my brain and started coming from my gut. Does that make sense?
Say more about that.
So before, if I needed a word, I would mentally search for it, like opening a filing cabinet in my head. Okay, how do you say frustrated? Frustrated. Okay, got it. After the challenge, the word just appeared, like muscle memory almost.
Like how a musician doesn't think about where to put their fingers anymore.
Yes, exactly like that. The language became more physical somehow, less mental.
I love that description. Okay, what was number 3?
Confidence. And I know, everyone says confidence, but it's different when you experience it. I used to avoid situations where English might come up. I'd let other people order food, make phone calls, talk to strangers. By the end of 30 days, I was actually seeking those situations. I wanted to practice. I wanted to talk to people.
You went from running away from that airport couple to actively looking for conversations.
Completely full circle, yes.
Okay, Sarah, let's talk about our listeners, because right now someone is listening to this on their commute or at the gym or maybe lying in bed, and they're thinking, I want to do this, but I'm scared. What do you say to that person?
I say, good. be scared, do it scared. Because here's the thing, the discomfort you feel when you're searching for a word, when you say something wrong and someone doesn't understand you, that discomfort is the learning. You cannot learn a language comfortably. It doesn't work that way.
Say that again, because that needs to land.
You cannot learn a language comfortably. Comfort means you're staying where you already are. Growth happens in the uncomfortable moments.
I want that on a poster, honestly. Any practical tips? Like, where do people start if they don't have English speakers around them?
Yes, 3 quick things. First, talk to yourself. I know, it feels weird. Do it anyway. Describe what you're doing out loud in English. I'm making coffee. I'm going to add 2 spoons of sugar. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real conversation and a solo one. It's still practicing.
Love that. What's number 2?
Change your phone to English today, not tomorrow.